Good day, everybody. It's the 6th of December, 2024. It's about, what is it? What did I come here? 2021 on the 4th of December, something like that. So I've been here 3 years already. But when I came here, it was 10 below zero. A few days after that, I bought this coat. But, so it's actually not quite as cold as it was at that time. But, yes. And news. It's mostly, I don't know, is there anything really that earth-shattering? You know, it's Tucker Carlson had this interview with Sergei Lavrov, and I guess that was a lot of maybe eye-openers for a lot of people, but it's a lot of things that, since I'm living over here, I already know a lot of these things because you get the Russian version as well, and maybe where you guys are at, you don't get that, but I don't know if you're ever going to see that interview anyway, or else they're going to be editing it and cutting things out, if you're going to get it in the West at all. You know how that is. But no, it was a very good interview. I think it was like 3 hours. I'm not too sure. But anyway, let's see some of these subjects we are going to talk about. And a lot of what I'm going to be saying is a lot of information that Sergei Lavrov has said, and I don't know, it's because I already knew this stuff. It's already, you know, factual, at least from this point of view, or this perspective over here. So let me keep going here. Yes, and one thing he was talking about, even though he didn't quite come right out and say it a lot of time, but a lot of people on that side in the government have said that, is that in so many words, that the leadership, you know, Zelensky there, he's trying to get control of, obviously, the Donbass and Crimea. And look at this, that's some kind of island out here for the ducks. Yeah, he's trying to get some kind of control over these areas. And in effect, what a lot of the political hierarchy in Russia is saying, that he has actually lost, well, Ukraine, the present government of Ukraine has lost its right to govern over those people because their attitudes towards them, you know. It's like when you ban their language and you treat them like crap. You treat them like crap, you know, threaten them, whatever. You don't have the right to govern over them. Try to kill them, bombing them. Remember, even before the Minsk Accords, Ukraine was bombing those people because they never ever wanted to be a part of Ukraine. You can go back to the early 1900s. They never wanted to be part of Ukraine. They were Russian people, Russian culture, Russian language, and Vladimir Lenin attached to them. As you know, I've mentioned it, a lot of people do, Ukraine is like a mishmash of all sorts of other parts of other countries, and different leaders of the Soviet Union attached it to an area. Maybe there was an area called Ukraine, and it's very strange. You know, they start crying and saying how Russia hates them, Russia this, and, you know, the Soviet Union, how badly they were treated, when of course they were the spoiled stepchildren of the Soviet Union. They got everything, you know. And second place were the Baltic countries. For example, a lot of people that went to universities and things there, they were always wanting to go to places like Riga, and because you had, everything was better. Moscow, sure, everything was great too. But the rest of Russia, place, you know, you had a lot more hardships. And what the Ukrainians called the Holodomor, you know, where they said the Russians were trying to kill them and starve them. There were places in Russia that were far, far worse. But they don't want you to know that. Shh. So many things they don't want you to know. And a lot of Russians died during that time. But shh, don't notice that. No, they were living fine. They were living great. They were rich. Had more than enough to eat. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is Sergei Lavrov was driving home the point that those people, the Banderites, I should say, and right now they are Banderites. Zelensky's a Banderite. There's no two ways about it. He's a follower of Bandera. What does it say? You walk like a duck, you quack like a duck, you look like a duck, you act like a duck, you're a duck. So he's a Banderite. And the Banderites, of course, are the worst form of Nazis, I guess you could say. So Zelensky is a Nazi, and there's no way you can deny that. But you have to ask yourself, well, what is a Nazi? What does a Nazi do? And then you got to look at Israel. What's that? And they really hate that when so many people and everybody draws so many parallels to what the Israeli government is doing and what the Adolf Hitler's government was doing, and it's all very, very, very striking. So, strikingly similar, I guess I should say. So, yes. So anyway, the goal has been to virtually rape the place. Ukraine wanted to rape the place of the Donbass is what I'm talking about. Maybe the Crimea as well, because in the Crimea, they had tourism and whatever. You had some sort of resources, and they wanted to rape those areas for the Banderite governments and all that, and maybe not care about the people. And they were telling them, they're not quite human beings. Zelensky said this stuff himself. I'll get that, get to that. Yeah. But anyways, enslaving them, and it's like, you heard Lindsey Graham. He just wants the money out of there, and that was one thing that Sergei Lavrov said. The difference between the West and Russia is Russia fights for people and the United States fights for resources. And it's just about the same as the Banderites. And even if you want to use humans as a resource, to rape them of their labor and not treat them well, things like that. You can see how Belarus is, social. I'll tell you what, another thing. Believe it or not, I worked for 5 months in Belarus. I worked not really such a long time in the United States. And this is kind of going to shock you. I worked maybe altogether, I don't know, anywhere from 12 to 14 years altogether in the United States. And I only worked 5 months in Belarus. And yet I get more pension in Belarus than I will get, apparently, in 2 years in the United States after working that time and paying into the system. Very strange, isn't it? More in Belarus, even though the pay is worse here for the most part. Pensions are maybe less, probably less, but yet you have to work far, far, far more in America to get any sort of a pension whatsoever than you do here. I don't get much, it's not anything. But, it's like I could get it, which is very strange. And it's, I don't know if that's really fair when you think about it. How much did I pay into the system? Sure, I bought an apartment and all this, and worked a little bit, and you do pay into the system, but you may pay far, far, far more into the United States system, and they give you far, far, far less. And that's been how my life has been for a lot of the time in the United States anyway. When I moved to Germany, even I noticed that the German government cares far more for their people than the American government. And yeah, just see if this gets put on YouTube or not. It's telling the truth of somebody who's lived in different countries. I've even lived in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that's in the same hemisphere as the United States. And things are a little bit rough there. I never tried to get a pension, never wanted to, never contributed. I think you have to contribute there. I don't even know how much. I never even asked, never was thinking about it. So that's what that's all about. Oh, by the way, I'm at Pershembayskaya. Did I say I did tell you, it's the 6th of December, 2024. I think that's over here. Oh, it looks like a shawarma place. I believe, oh yeah, no, there's a Asian, looks like it might be closed. A shop where you can buy, Asian things like rice and all that sort of a deal. Okay. Also, now we're talking about a little bit about what's going on in Syria. The terrorists there. It has become well known that, and I mentioned it last time as well, that it's who's involved in that. And, it's not a big surprise anyway, because they've been there for the whole time, was the United States. And, like Russia knows who's causing all the turmoil and why they're causing all the turmoil. We'll get to that as well. But it's primarily, of course, the United States. And I didn't think so, but I guess Great Britain is also involved, and they know that for a fact. Great Britain is also involved. I knew they were the first time, but I don't know about this time. And obviously Turkey, but Sergei Lavrov did not want to say that. And he said Israel, he's a diplomat. He went around it in a certain way without pinpointing and saying that Israel is definitely involved. He sort of said that they have interests there and all that. It's a nice way of diplomatic say of saying that Israel's involved. And he said, and some other countries or something like that, and it's complicated. That's a polite way of not mentioning Turkey, because they're trying to get along with Turkey. And yeah, that's what it is. Erdogan, nobody really knows what the heck he's doing. He's the usual loose cannon swinging around on deck, and nobody knows whose side he's on. So he acts like he's on the side of the Muslims, and then he goes on the side of people that are killing Muslims. So, you know, he apparently wants to, I don't know, get rid of the Kurds. I have no idea. And the Kurds are on the side of the United States, and they're also involved. So there's a lot of players involved. And, you know, it wouldn't be happening unless somebody is making it happen. And we all know, like I just said, it's the United States. So here we have another park by the river. Maybe I should take a walk through that park. I've been there before. Let's see, you know, if I can walk across. Oh, there's a crosswalk there. This is Belarus, you know, you kind of have to go by the rules. You never know that there's a militia. They call it militia, they don't call it the police. There's a militia watching or not. This is a sports stadium. It's one of the older ones. I would go a little bit closer. Well, look at that. There's a green light. I could walk across over there, but I don't know. I never actually walked around underneath it. Looks like there are people coming in and out, something going on. Nothing sporting, of course. I don't know if there's an exhibition. Wystavka. I don't have any idea. So, yeah. But Ukraine is definitely, they're very much involved there. And they have some of their best people, believe it or not, there. And of course, they look at this war against Russia, you know, as also taking place in Syria, obviously. And that's one thing I was going to mention, that what they said was that people get past here. There was one of the, well, I think he was an ambassador, and of course it's been said by other leaders in the Ukraine that what they're trying to do is kill as many Russians as possible, which is pretty strange when you think about it, that the United States, I don't know if they've said it recently, but obviously they want to kill as many Russians and Ukrainians as possible. So they are absolutely in love with what's going on, watching, what is it, 5-1 at least? I don't know how many Ukrainians to every Russian, and the Russians don't really report on how many they're losing. Sometimes they're losing quite a bit, actually. I have a kind of a source, and I don't want to get into it, but sometimes they have some significant losses. And I think right now, you know, it's a lot more, of course, on the Ukrainian side, probably more than 5-1. And yeah, I think I could, you know, pressure a source, and I could probably get better numbers than you'll get from most anybody else, but I'm not going to do that, because I don't think, you know, I'm over here. Belarus is allies with Russia, and I don't want to get into that sort of thing. And so what else do I have here on my notes? Yeah, we're talking about the terrorists in Ukraine. Oh, another who's also involved, of course, is some of the stands. I don't know, like Tajikistan or Turkmenistan, or I don't know, or stands. Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy, I don't know. A lot of stands involved over there. Okay. And Israel, some people are suggesting that they, which I think it's a little bit more involved in that, but they want to use this as a distraction and to carry on with their atrocities and genocide in Gaza, which it certainly is a genocide. There's no way about it that you can deny that. And of course, the genocide has taken place because the ethnic cleansing was not really working. They were doing everything possible to expel all of the Palestinians from there and then take over that land. You know, that's part of their plan for Eretz Israel. And the new leader, I don't even know his name, but the new leader of the Hezbollah has just now come out. It was today, some hours ago, I guess. And he said that Israel has failed because what they were trying to do is to take over the land all the way to the Litani River, and that's been their goal for many, many decades. Israel's trying to, that's one of their first goals, is their expansion of Israel. And I believe some people say that the map of Israel, when you see the two blue lines with a Jewish star in the middle, those lines represent rivers. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. And maybe the one in the north is the Litani River. I guess you can look that up on your own. Looks like some sort of a, here we're talking about the stands. And here is let me first show you over here. This apparently is an embassy of one of the stands. Oh, look at that, an official car of a diplomat. You see that red license plates? Ooh. So, I'm not supposed to cross here. Like I said, you don't break the laws in Belarus. It's probably going to be a militia, with my luck, that just coming by. So what is that flag up there? Everybody can see it. Wasn't a policeman. A deaf policeman heard the noise and came and killed the two dead boys. You guys know that? Oh, look at this. Here we go. Resultsful. Whatever. Somebody looking at me here. Anyway, I wonder why they're stopped. Another diplomatic car, blacked out windows. Ooh. Oh, here comes another one. Wow. Nobody here. See if I can do this. Probably not good. Same kind of car. Huh? Look at that, some sort of a guest house inside of the complex. I said look and find out which embassy that is. What did last video or the video before that, I had the embassy of the Vatican, so it's not even in the same area here. So what's this? Turkey stands. Yes. Okay. Well, I was also going to talk about, I mentioned that all these slaughter and what's going on with Israel, and it's some people are now talking again. It's coming up all the time about all the children getting killed. And I was saying when I was doing that live stream with somebody else on from the other side, I was saying that 2023 will go down as the year of the war against children, and it seems to have gotten worse in 2024. And then it makes you really wonder, well, who's behind all this stuff? And it's like, well, who wants to reduce the world's population? And then you start thinking, well, there's Bill Gates, there's Klaus Schwab, there's the Open Society Foundation from George Soros, well, now Alexander Soros. So in a way that answers who's running these wars and who's the men behind the curtain. I had a video already called The Men Behind the Curtain. So there you go. Oh, my eye is getting bothered. Oh. So what else? And they're talking now lately because I think it's the date, I think it was the 5th of December when the Budapest Memorandum was signed, and Ukraine tries to use that as saying how Russia is walked out on them. They signed the Budapest Memorandum. I think it was signed in 1995. Was it Bill Clinton back in those days? And it's like, well, what about the Minsk Accords? They didn't obey that either. But the difference is, the Budapest Memorandum was just a memorandum, and there are two types of memorandums. There's a memorandum of understanding and a memorandum of agreement. And I believe the memorandum of agreement is a little bit binding. It's still not really binding. It's not like a real accord or a treaty. And I'm not sure if this was even specified what kind of a memorandum it was, but a memorandum is just sort of showing your intentions of doing something. And I think the wording in that was not really binding anyway. So that's actually not a binding document. this Budapest Memorandum, and what it was trying to do was that Russia would remove their nuclear weapons. I guess it was the biggest amount, or the second biggest amount of nuclear weapons in Europe, and they to remove the nuclear weapons, and then in exchange for that, Ukraine was supposed to get some sort of security assurances, and for the most part, they got those security assurances for the entire time until they started bombing their own people, which were Russian people, and Russia never put a foot over there, but yet they kept killing and bombing, and those people kept asking for help, and then Russia came in, and of course, it's a big chess game anyway, and the United States was always trying to get the Crimea, and that's what I was going to get at. That was one thing that Sergei Lavrov said in this interview with Tucker Carlson. And like I said, I was talking about this many years ago. As a matter of fact, I've known this since the 1980s, and I'm just really shocked because I think I remember even other people talking about it, that the U.S. had this huge goal. In the first days was many decades, was to kick Russia out of the Crimea, and they said, they will cease to be an empire at that time. And then, of course, as they kept taking over more and more countries with the expansion of NATO, and then with this, trying to take over Ukraine, the United States, obviously, they wanted to take the Crimea for themselves and put a military base there. And that's exactly what Sergei Lavrov said. The United States wants to put a military base, naval base, in the Crimea. And of course, Israel at that time, I don't even know when that ran out, or if it ever did run out. I think it was a 100-year lease or 99-year lease. And I remember way back, it was about the 1990s, people were protesting in Ukraine, protesting that they wanted to be part of Russia. They had protests back then, and they did not want to be part of Ukraine. And I think, who was that? Khrushchev. He gifted the Crimea to Ukraine. And just like Lenin gifted, he gifted the Donbass to Ukraine. And I think it was Stalin who gifted parts of, what was that? The other side over there. But anyway, Stalin was messing up everything too. Stalin, I think he gifted South Ossetia and Abkhazia to Ukraine. And of course he did a lot of things right around Romania and Moldova and Transnistria. He messed up the whole thing. They all messed it all up. And most all of these people, Stalin was from Georgia. Khrushchev, I guess he was Ukrainian, and most of the time the leaders of the Soviet Union were Ukrainian. They hated the Ukrainians. They hated Ukraine, and they were ripping off Ukraine, but they were Ukrainians. That doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't make sense. So, like I said, Ukraine was the spoiled stepchild of the Soviet Union. They got more than everybody else, and then they complained and said, we're the abused stepchild. Yeah, and so anyway, Lavrov believes that the United States was really interested starting in 2004 to get that. Look at this, there's a print shop over here apparently. I didn't know that. But who's going to come all the way here to get something printed? Maybe I'm sure the embassy has their own there. And most of the time, I don't know. Most of the time, I think Russia is playing too soft on the West. But I think it's a little bit different now. They're starting to wake up a little bit and realizing that the West is not their friend. The trend is my friend. Just coming over here to take a look and see what this is all about here. Anyway, nothing. I wonder what this building is up here. Some kind of a factory. I don't know. Must be an apartment building or some sort. Anyway, that's about all I have to say right now. And like I said, there's not really any big shocking news. Mostly, I guess the biggest thing is if you can find some kind of recording of Tucker Carlson's talk with Sergei Lavrov. I don't know if anything's happened in the past 4 hours. I was in class, so maybe something did. Anyway, I got to get back and do some studies. Oh, here comes a soldier. Oh no, he's coming to get me. He's coming to get me. And oh no, he's going the other way. So that's all I have to say for right now. And hope you guys have a good weekend. Like I said, it's Friday, and relax a little bit. You see, we have snow here. It's starting to get cold. Got my winter coat, and I hope everything's fine with you guys. Hope it's not as cold as it is here. It's not really that cold yet. Just wait, maybe another couple weeks. Okay, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.